Hey folks, thanks for jumping on. I'm going to get going here in 30 seconds. Just gotta check email here quick and we're good to go. Right on. So, I hope you guys are all doing all right for this Tuesday London Open. What are we? June the 12th. I can't believe it's already June the 12th. Summer is right around the corner. It's actually the longest day of the year, next Thursday. Where I live, it is light. The sun just went down, actually. I am north of the 49th, so it stays light here for quite some time, right around this time of the year. I actually used to, I have some family even further north, about 10 hours north of where I'm at right now, and I used to go up there as a younger, in my early 20s and mid 20s, we used to go out to the bar, shut the bar down at 2 a.m. and it was light enough where we'd go and we'd jump onto the golf course and play 9 holes of golf before the sun actually came up. It was that light where you could still see your ball. I mean, it wasn't like a light where you could, like, perfectly see it, but if you hit it, you could see the general direction of where it went. You couldn't always see where it landed, but still, it was kind of cool being able to do that in my younger days. Nowadays, I go to bed at 10 o'clock pretty much, because I am that old. But anyway, I'm not doing a whole bunch in the markets this week, to be honest with you. I'm just more so observing. My goal was to sit down and do some market analysis on some commodities. I've yet to do that. I had a crazy day today. One of my other businesses had basically occupied all of my time, and I've been busy putting out fires with that, and it's kind of entering the busy season, so it's definitely been occupying a little bit of my time. So it's kind of good timing that FOMC is coming up here on Wednesday, and I'm not really looking to do anything with that. With the market until then, but I'm going to, like I say, I'd like to actually do a little bit of commodity analysis with you guys here tonight, and I'll maybe pull up some seasonals and pull up some other data that I'm looking at on some commodities, see if we can find a market leader or two. Don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I'll just kind of go through a couple of resources that I'm looking at and see if there's anything that might, I don't know, pop up that could catch our interest and be worth looking into a little bit deeper. So I'm just actually going to flip it. You know what? And I'll be honest with you. I'll do a real quick rundown on the U.S. dollar. I don't see anything just going forward. Just to kind of talk about the forex pairs, because I know a lot of you guys are here for forex only. I don't see a lot of action here that I want to take until after Wednesday. You can see the stops here were just ran, these equal highs were just ran here on Euro, and price rate at the 72% retracement level had fallen off, not too greatly. We've only ran down on it about 10 pips or so. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm on a 4-hour. Let's try that again. Prices run down about 100 pips down to here. But that was last Friday's trading, so I didn't, again, Thursday I wasn't trading the Euro. Should have been. Thursday I ended up putting in the high, and then we had a market reversal, or a retracement, I should say, back to the old highs from Monday's high, and then it had bounced off of there. And today really didn't do, Monday's trading really didn't do a whole bunch of I think it finished almost to what it opened up at. A couple of pips higher, so nothing too serious there. Today really was almost a doji. That's kind of how it finished off, so might be about a 10 pip difference on it. But and then since then we've fallen off quite a bit, and the fall off I think is just in relation to this gap so far that we've been putting in on the US dollar. Now that's interesting that I see this gap here. They came down, took this low on this feed here by I think 1 or 2 pips is what I had counted out, and sat sideways, no willingness to go down here, and then popped it as soon as the open happened on on Tuesday's candle here, you can see. So I would expect them to potentially trade softer, and then we'll see what happens when they get back down to here. They could use this as support and then want to jam price higher from there. If they do that, then we'll be looking, and I think if they did that, then that's just, you know, a telltale sign that they're pretty much done going down here. They've tried to go down once, twice, 3 times, failed to do it, and the bulls have kind of got behind it, and they're literally just starting to gap price now, and we could see this thing run up higher. So we'll see how that goes. If these bodies in here start to get taken out, like if price trades all the way back down here and then comes lower than this gap area in here, and actually it's technically that's not the gap. Gap's right about there. So if they want to go back down and then start to sweep the lows in here, then this was just a simple stop run, in which case all they were doing was running these stops right in here, right there, and I'm trying to get that as a straight line. I'm going to take out these data dividers so you can see that a little bit better. They ran the stops there and ran the stops back over here. So that was from last week's, and basically just kind of ran up into the lows right in here is really what they did, as you can see right there. So you know, that is a very, to be honest with you, come on, give me a straight line here. Love it when MT4 does that. Okay, so they just, well, let me get this right. It's going to drive me crazy. Okay, there we go. So you can see that they ran up into this candle here. Now, this is actually a very, I mean, if I were looking at this, I'd say sell short, because that's a fairly bearish sign. But if they had have done that without gapping like that, I think I might be a little more inclined. But I think that just due to the fact, like, it, you know, Monday traded up, came lower, and they just kind of ran the stops under Monday's low and then rejected and went higher. I'm not necessarily thinking that's a super bearish move, but we'll see. If this is the high and they fail to come back up here, and that was just a stop run and a return back to this these old lows in here, they could certainly trade off, and in that case, the gap will get closed. Excuse me, the gap will get closed, and they'll start closing lower than Monday, and then close eventually lower than last Thursday. But if that happens, then obviously, you know, it's going to keep on falling. But I don't know. So far, pretty bullish sign. We'll see how this pans out for the rest of New York. I'm sorry, London Open again. And if it starts trading higher than here, then I think that's going to finally make that push up for 95, a big figure. So anyway, Euro, like I was saying, cable, if we see a run higher in US dollar, then we should see a run lower in cable. And also Euro GBP, if we do see this pop up in here in the Euro GBP, that will take the pound short, the pound dollar shorter, give the pound dollar momentum to run to the downside. So just so you're, you know, if you're looking at this, it finally kind of broke out of this little wedge I was talking about with this daily close here on Monday. I wouldn't be surprised if Tuesday came up and ran up here into there, and then we'll see what happens. It may reject and come all the way back down, and just, you know, put in like a wick high like this guy in here. And if that's the case, then we could see the pound dollar do a quick drop lower and maybe even run these lows here. So we'll see how that pans out. There's some news coming up for the pound dollar as well too. I might as well bring that up. There is some fairly significant news. Average earnings and claimant counts, unemployment rate, etc., all at 4:30 a.m. New York time. So that should push the dollar or the pound dollar around a little bit. So you may see a little bit of volatility, and we'll see what they want to do. If they fail to break this level in here, you see how price is consolidating in here, and it comes back in, and these are the old highs of the small consolidation level. We're really at 133, right about there, just as a round number, 133.30. If price fails to break here, so if they come down and on the news, if they jam it down and look like they're rejecting, then we could see higher prices. I actually marked this out on the chart a while ago. this level in here, which is just a sweep of those highs. I think I did that on my live session on Sunday, or sorry, recorded session on Sunday. So that could be the target, but you know, we'll see what happens when that news comes out here in about the next, what is it, 4 hours from now? Yeah, about that. That was at 4:30 New York time, I believe. Yes, so about, yeah, actually almost exactly 4 hours from now. So we'll see what happens there. If I see price, like I say, jam down here, I'm not taking any trades. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm not going to be trading this, the pound dollar. I don't care what it does. I'm going to elect to sit on the sidelines. And observe price. I really don't want to trade it. I just didn't have a good week last week, and so I don't want to continue with any of that this week. I'd rather just err on the side of caution, wait for FOMC to do its thing. Anyway, this would kind of be the line in the sand. If price runs down here, starts to wick in here and reject, we're going higher. If it pushes down and through, then and starts closing below here, then we're probably going to see these lows here get swept. And those lows come in at 130. Yeah, so about 13300. Why does it always do that? I can get the. There we go. Got it. So that'd kind of be the target I'd be looking for short term. Not a whole, you know, big range or anything like that. It'd only be about 60 pips from current location, but we'll see how that goes. Price may want to come and run up into this level in here, this small consolidation level, and then, you know, on the news reject and then go lower, or it's going to do this. It's going to come down in the news and then reject down here and go higher. So again, its price is right in the middle of this range here. I'm not super excited about it. You know, I mean, if you're from that low to that high, right? I mean, look where it is. It's right in the middle of that range, that 50% level right there. So it could, honestly, it could go either way. Any way, you know, would be, they could take this any way, and I could honestly justify a case for them going either way. More so, I believe, to the downside, only because of this run up here. That was a nice liquidity run back higher after this big down movement, and they came right up into this consolidation area in here, and so far not really much of a sign of wanting to continue to go lower. So actually this candle in here, the low came in at, come on, I think it just missed it. Come on, give me that label. Oh, I just had it. Okay, 134.73, and then this high on this candle here came in at 134.72, so it just about hit it bang on. And look at the rejection, 1, 2, 3 days down. So like I say, basically this little range in here at 133.30, that'll be the telltale sign. If price goes down and does not want to close lower than that, then we'll probably see prices run back up, and it'll certainly test this old low here and again. And maybe even run that high. And if we do see continuation down, then 13300 is easily going to get tagged, and then they may even want to run it lower. So that's just kind of my thoughts on the dollar, euro. Didn't really talk about euro too much, not too interested in it. And then pound, only because there's pound news happening here in a few hours. Euro GBP, like I say, I would expect a push up higher in here, and I'm almost leaning a little bit more to the downside on cable. That's just my thoughts on it. I could be totally wrong, and they could jam it higher. You know, this being like a trend line trap almost. You can see what they've been doing here. They've been running price softer, so everyone thinking, well, this is going short, and this line should be the resistance level. Could see a run higher and then a drop, but it could be a trend line trap. Who knows? I have a bit of a aversion to think that this thing's going to be going lower, but that's just me. I don't know. And only because I don't think the dollar is done running its highs yet, obviously. So that would be really the only reason why I'd think that. Anyway, so with that being said, you know what? I've got Let me hang on here. Well, give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to run over to. I want to switch gears here, talk a little bit about commodities. Nothing in cryptos or anything. We're still at the same levels I was talking about earlier. Hopefully, you guys got a chance to watch that pre-recording that I did, and you can see here there's definitely selling pressure on a lot of these cryptos. From Ripple to Litecoin, all the majors, Bitcoin, and everything else in between. So I really kind of want to just talk about commodities. I don't know if any of you are commodity traders or not, but if you are, I mean, there's some great opportunities this time of year. And I labeled one in sugar that we had just as the most recent one was sugar. I can show you here. I got the demo account loaded right here. Give me 1 second. I just gotta pull it over. Oh, it's not even on sugar. What do we got here? That is the US CAD sugar. There it is. So you can see here, got a nice trade off on sugar. Price came stabbed down last Thursday, and I went long in this consolidation. There's actually quite a big spread on sugar. I actually got price when it was, I think it was this candle's low, I'm sorry, this candle's open, that green candle right there had come in, and then I saw this candle come down, and that's where I bought it down in there. But the spread was savage. It just, I mean, it's a huge spread on it. So I actually got in at I put the buy order in at a much lower than what it gave me, but that's just the spread on this demo account. So it is what it is. Price ran on me a little bit, a couple of pips into Monday's trading, and or I'm sorry, into Friday's trading, and then you can see the result, and price just rebounded from there, and it's been running higher ever since. So I'm looking for higher prices to continue. I talked about this stupid chart on this demo account. For whatever reason, it's not a continuous contract. This one here is, though, so you can see where price is now. I got in down here, and I'm looking for price to run up here. So that is a good, and I'll tell you actually exactly what I got in at. 11, call it 1180 for all intents and purposes. 1180 is right about there-ish. And I'm looking up there, and that's a good 330 pip run. A couple of contracts on sugar, that is going to equate to a nice little demo dollar account value. Should run the account up quite nicely. So that's what I'm looking for on sugar. So nothing's changed there. I'm not going to analyze that one anymore. What I want to talk about, I just kind of want to go through some of the major commodities, like, for instance, wheat. See what we're doing there, see where it's going, where we could possibly be heading next. And that's weird. Grains.com just opened up for some reason. I don't know what I hit there. That was odd. Now this thing was defaulting to, yeah, it's doing it again. I'm just going to bring this over. So this is just barchart.com. This is what I use to do some of my initial analysis on some of the commodities that I work with. And I was doing a comparison on a couple of indexes, and for some damn reason, chart scroll bar navigator is now found in settings. Zoom the bars on the chart by holding the shift key and scrolling with your mouse wheel. Oh, well, there you go. Look at that. June, January, July 2018, 2017, and here we are here. All right. So, I still want to get rid of these. Get rid of that. I know there's a way to do this, and maybe this will work. No, it's still there as well, too. I apologize, guys. I got to go through and... Oh, here we go. Take those out. Apply. There we go. That's better. So this is just, this guy down here, this is just the institutionals. I'm just trying to get a gauge on if they're in a long or short program. Finding out where we're at. So this is wheat. So typically what I do when I run my analysis, on commodities. I will look at just some of the majors and just to kind of see where we're running on some of them. For example, like tonight, I'll just kind of maybe run through the grains really quickly, okay? And I'll just kind of show you just on a few charts. I'll just pop these charts out. I will throw them up like this, size them a little bit different, and I'll just throw 5 or 6 of them out real quickly. All right, we'll just kind of stack them just sort of like this here. And then we'll look at them individually and see if there's technically any areas where, you know, we could be coming up to see some potential bounce, you know, higher, lower, if it's coming into an area of support or resistance, and where I think it's going to be. So I'm just going to give me 1 minute here. I'm going to set up a couple of these charts, and just on the grains, the majors. I'm not going to do any of the minor ones. And let's just see if there's anything there that that might interest us. And this is kind of how I derive at some of the commodities that I will run through. Now, there's obviously another level of analysis that I do that is above and beyond what I'm going to discuss here today with you guys. I'm not going to reveal all the good stuff, but I'll definitely kind of give you an idea as to, you know, what I'm looking at. So we've got wheat, we've got corn. I'm pulling up soybeans right now. And what are we, contracts, July contracts? Soybeans, yep, there we go. Soybeans has taken a shit kick in the past little while. And I believe, if I am not mistaken, it is solely due to the trade war that Trump is, China and Trump are currently engaged in. I believe that, you know, it's definitely taken its toll. You can see here, come on, don't close it. There we go. Look at soybeans and corn, just taking a beating. Wheat, corn, soybeans, not gonna do those guys. Oats, rough rice, spring wheat, canola. Yeah. Let me do no, I don't want to do that. Spring wheat. I'm gonna try rice. I'm not a big rice trader. I don't really necessarily like the market too much. There's not a ton of volume on it, or any for that matter. Where the hell? September. Wow. I don't think this is one. I'm just gonna open up on the side chart here and just see what the how it's trending. See if there's anything there worth looking at. 1 second, guys. Sorry if this is a little bit boring. I totally get it. I'm just trying to... very similar to wheat, actually. What wheat's doing. So, wheat, corn, soybeans, soybean meal, soybean oil. All intents and purposes, it's soybean. I don't want to drive too far into that. Hard red wheat. That's actually a new one. Spring wheat and, you know what, I'm going to bring up canola. Let's see what we got here on canola. That's a pretty major one. November contract in canola has the highest open interest, trading at a discount to July contract. Let's see where we're at. So they could be expecting lower prices going into September. A little bit choppy trading. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to look at the July contract here. Yeah, I can show you what I'm doing here off the screen. It's nothing magical. I'm just going through and I'm looking at what the open interest is versus current, and what the last prices are on the July contract versus the November contract, and it's nothing too serious. there is a premium going into next month versus into September. Interesting. Very interesting. And then September contract. Whoops. September contract was, I believe, very similar. I would only select the September contract just because of the volume and the amount of open interest. That's typically what I look for in the contracts to trade. Go to a full chart, see what we got. And it is a little bit different, actually, quite different. Interesting. I just took the lows in here. I'm going to go with the front month. I'm sorry, that was November. I'm going to go with the front month on this guy here, I think. I'm sorry to keep switching back and forth, guys. I want to make sure I get the right contract. Not that, you know, canola is a trade that I'm going to take, but I just want to make sure that we've got more of a... This contract's going to expire as well, too. Just so you're aware, if you do happen to trade futures, rollover comes on the 21st of the month, so just keep that in mind, guys. So this contract will end here fairly soon. You can see the difference in charts, eh? Very interesting. Definitely coming down to a major area of potential support. Turtle soup up here. They just ran price above the high, swept it down. You know, here, let me pop this out to a chart here, and then we can just do some quick comparison and look at some seasonalities and have just a quick peek, sort of what we're talking about here for the grains. And then what I do is I sit down and I will look at this for grains, energy, not financials. I don't really trade the financial markets in terms of T-bonds and treasury notes and stuff like that. I don't really trade those. But I'll compare the grains, the meats, the metals, and softs mainly is what I'm looking at. So 4 main categories of commodities that I'd like to look at. So softs, metals, meats, grains, basically, in a nutshell. And between those, there's only about maybe a dozen different futures that I'd be interested in even looking at. Even with that being said, so it's not like I'm in there like I say, like you can trade like soybean oil and soybean meal and things like that. Not super interested in trading that kind of stuff, but definitely look at the majors on it. So anyway, just real quick, so looking at these charts, pointing out a couple of levels that I can see automatically. Okay, so we're looking at, start with wheat here. As you can see, wheat is, and this wasn't working for me for whatever friggin' reason last time. It was driving me nuts, and it's now working. Good. You can see wheat, nice bullish movement here, running higher. There is it definitely hit a level of resistance up in this area in here. Whoops, I didn't mean to drop that line there. Just expand that a little bit. Go. Roll that back just a bit. Okay. And I want to move this up here. So here's the high coming in up here. You can see these highs. They basically just like a failure swing came up and ripped down. So if this thing does continue higher, I would expect that. See these lows that it's put in here? Right in around this area in here. I would expect some of that to give up a little bit of resistance. So I'm just going to throw in a quick line in here. if I can get it. And we'll just kind of come to the body opens of these candles in there and say that 587 would be potentially an area of resistance going forward. So price came up, created a new high, traded back down, ran the stops down here, came back up, failure swing, came back down, failure swing, trading right in the middle of a fractal, finally popped up, took out the old highs here, and since then it's been creating a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and now we're back down into here. I actually would expect this thing to run a little bit deeper and potentially swing lower here, grab up some of the stops, and potentially trade higher. Now, what I would cross-reference this with real quickly, you know, again, I'm not trying to get into this in too much detail. There's a lot of other factors that I'm looking at on this, namely the commercials. Looks like they're in a sell pattern right now as well. Wheat, just going to pull up a real quick seasonal chart on wheat, see where we are historically, and I'll just throw that on the chart. So again, this is wheat. We are currently right here. As you can see, there is some current bearish activity that we're in. We're in a downward trend on wheat. But look what happens here, guys. Look at this. And this is very interesting. You see this? The end of this month here, going into the end of June and early July, look what price does. So far on the past 15-year history, huge pop-up, huge run. Even on the 40-year, very, very bullish activity that happens. Now, very, very short-lived as well, too. I mean, you'd be looking at a very, very quick trade, potentially, from June 27th up to a high in here to about the 5th of July. So you're literally looking at about a week period of time where you could see a pop in price, and then price would start to, you know, run lower again. So just kind of the start of each contract is sort of where it would be looking. But you can see overall the summer months, they start to, after the summer months are over, price does start to run very, very bullishly towards the end of the year. And so there could be some opportunity there as well, too. So that is, in a nutshell, wheat. And again, if we do see some bearish activity continue, we've still got about another 2 weeks to go, 3 weeks to go till the end of the month. Not quite 3 weeks, about 20 days left till the end of the month here. So we could see a run lower on wheat and then potentially start to gather some support up. If they want to run this low here, I'd be surprised, but it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to come down and potentially gather some support in this area right here. Just sweeping these lows here, potentially running back down, and we could get a bit of a support in that level at 482. So we'll be watching for that, and just very limited. Yeah, maybe in here, somewhere in that neighborhood there. Price could run down, grab up the buy stops, and then, grab up the sell stops, and then run higher. And I'd be targeting higher prices. So this 555 level up here and potentially 587 could be a nice little run. I don't necessarily know, though, within a week's period of time we would get all the way up to here. But I think for sure this high here would definitely come in into play if we got to run back down to here. Now keep in mind, it may not run that low. We could only run down to here, and we could see some support gathered up into these lows in here. But we'll have to wait and see if they want to create a much lower low than that. So we'll just kind of keep that one on the radar screen. Running over real quickly to corn, same type of idea. The large institutions look to be in a bit of a sell program. Potentially contributing to this big drop rate here, and they could be now starting to lessen some of their short positions, and we could start to see some buying step in. But this is going to be the big tester rate in here. See these relatively equal lows. They came down just down here and just grabbed. I'll just see if I can zoom in on that a little bit better. You can see this here. Price came down, created a low, another low, and then they just came down here and just grabbed the stops under there and ripped price up. I believe they're probably heading for this low here, but we're going to wait and see on that one. So corn, definitely very interesting. I'll just, again, and I'm just doing a real quick down and dirty analysis on this, guys. So there's a lot more to this that I will do in much more detail going forward when I start my trade recommendations on these. But just, you know, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at here on a real higher level sort of analysis. Okay, so seasonally, not lining up. Okay, so you look here, and I'll even pop this on just to kind of show you, even to the 5-year, it's all corresponding as well too. Sort of a bullish to moderately neutral market coming from the start of the year all the way up until the end of, well, kind of middle point, sort of right around now of June. And then you can see price historically starts to fall right off. Create its lows into August, and then going into September, we start to see it start to bounce and create and to rally a bit. So corn, not looking for anything on corn, and obviously you can see that's clearly coming to fruition. So I can pretty much tell you right now that corn will run for these lows without question, and maybe. If we do see a retracement, you see this big down candle in here, if we see a return back up to 375, 370 to 375, somewhere in there, somewhere in these this old consolidation level back here a few days ago from last week. If we do see a run back up in there, that could even be a catalyst for a short. And then I would definitely be targeting the lows under here at 363. So I'm not necessarily one to short it. Had we been up here when I was looking at this, then we could have identified that as a turtle soup and then a rejection, just a run on liquidity basically. They came up, ran the old highs in here, and then rejected. But I don't think that that's really anything that I'm just going to go back a little bit here, see where we're at. Yeah, I'm not necessarily too keen on shorting it where we're at right now. Like I say, had it been up here, possibly, or even right here last week, but I'm pretty confident it's going to run those lows there, but price would have to retrace a bit more before I'd be interested in getting in short on that. But anyway, I'm going to take corn off the list. Not something I'm looking at right now. I think we're too far lower. Historically, it's going to drop, should drop even more off of that. And I'm just going to actually look at the 5-year real quick. Not really great in here. You look at this, and this is a 5-year trend. This is from July 2014. Not doing a whole bunch. It's really consolidating. You know, created a lower low here, another lower low here, and so far each time it's been failing to create a higher high. See, they had a high here, failed to get into that high, and here failed to get up past this high, and I think we're going to continue to go lower. So interesting as well too, the commercials, they have not been this short for a very long time. They've actually been running a short program for a while now, which is interesting to see. You don't really see that corresponding back here. So someone is heavily bearish on corn. Moving on, soybeans, like I was saying, just been taking a shit kicking the past little while. And I think this is due primarily, like I was saying to you, to Trump coming in, creating those trade wars with China. One of their hit lists was soybeans, and the U.S., China basically was one of the largest purchasers of soybeans from the U.S., and they've since basically said no thanks. And I believe these talks here that they're going into, so the U.S. and the Western NATO allies, essentially the G7, just finished their meetings up in Canada. Didn't go very well. I'm not going to get into that, but there's a big Asian one coming down here this week. I think they're all there now, or will be later this week, and they'll be discussing, deliberating a lot of stuff. So Trump could be back in there, and he could be negotiating on this further. If that does happen, and he strikes a deal, then we could see a bounce in soybeans. Now, again, just real quickly. I will just pull up a seasonality for soybeans. And go. Let's see where we're at on soybeans. Same type of idea actually as corn. Nothing in here really coming into potentially a big drop into towards the end of July, and then a further continuation down, and then bottoming out kind of early October there. So it's in a real big sell pattern right now, and I'm expecting this to continue, to be honest with you. I'll just go out to a 5-year on this guy here. Still a lot of room for this thing to go down. They do look like they're lessening their shorts on it right now, but definitely still in a sell program, and I wouldn't be looking at taking any longs on soybeans anytime soon. And I'll be honest with you, this area in here would typically offer a bit of area of support for price. As you can see in the past, it has acted as such. Price has come down here, created a low, and it has failed to breach that low. Big consolidation here, failed to come out any higher, and I think they're going to be running for this low, and then ultimately this low, and they could potentially look at even coming down. See the old highs in this consolidation in here. That could be their next target to come down to. But so far, soybeans have also been taking a bit of a beating from their highs way back here 5 years ago at 1,600, and now they're down to sub 1,000 so per bushel of soybeans. So kind of interesting. I don't see any continuation higher on this guy in the near future, unless, like I say, these trade talks with China and everything start coming out miraculously different. I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of change in this. I think just continuation to the downside would probably be in order. What they may do is come, and I'll just see if I can't pull this up here. What I would like to see them do, you see these lows in here, a very high level of confluence in here at this 995 level. So what they could do, and this I might consider as a trade idea, but what they could do is they could come back in. You see this big run down here? If they were to come back in and retest these levels in here, I would look at that as a potential resistance level in there. If they wanted to come back up, I might look at getting short in this area here and potentially seeing a further continuation to the downside. As you can see here, they failed so far to sweep the lows under here, under that level there, and they've rejected so far today. We'll see, though. That more than likely what they're going to end up doing is just rolling it over, and it'll probably just continue further south. But if they ever do poke their head back up here to this 995 level, I might be interested in looking at price at that time and seeing where we're at. So that was soybeans, and the last one here, canola. Again, price coming into a major level here technically again. And this was this kind of varied from the other chart that I was looking at. That's kind of why I was going back and forth on canola. There was what the hell was this guy here? This was July's contract and differed heavily from September's. So price was a little more fluid in here, and that's kind of why I'm choosing to analyze this guy here. But just keep in mind, this particular contract, I wouldn't be, if let's say for instance I saw a buy in here, I wouldn't be buying this contract. I'd be buying September's contract and going forward from there. 1 second. So I'm kind of looking at this and saying we could see a potential for price to bounce at this 513 level here, and if it does bounce, sale price just came in, grabbed the highs there and fell off. If price breaks lower than this, then we're going to be going under here, and you can see here how they failed to grab liquidity after this big run up here from January. So we're going to see what they want to do here, but so far nice bullish uptrending market on canola. And last but not least, let's bring up the seasonality for this guy here. Come on. Internet's a little slow for some reason. Canola. Where the hell are we? Cocoa. Soybeans, wheat, corn. Soybeans, meal, wheat, oats. Huh. That's weird. I'm not seeing a seasonal chart for canola on this website, so I will have to apologize, guys. I didn't realize that this was incomplete. One second. Just have to go over to ICE for a second. See if I can pull up a chart, if it'll allow me to bring one up without a membership. Not able to pull one up. Okay, sorry guys, can't pull one up for canola. Nothing here anyway that I'm really, I mean, like I was saying, maybe on, if price comes down to here to this 513, we could certainly watch for something, a potential bounce to ensue, but I don't know off of this if this is going to continue or not, so, yeah. Might be something that's worthwhile to watch, but I'll do some more research on canola here and see if there's something else that I can pull off of there for you guys, and we'll have a look at that. But so anyway, that's kind of about it. I just wanted to, like I say, just run through a couple of them with you. So far, I think the most probable, the highest probability trade-wise. Again, corn and soybeans are getting crushed, but they are also seasonally coming into an area where price continues to drop. You can see here corn, I definitely think is going to take out those lows, and soybeans as well too. I think it's going to come and run down under here, so I'm not looking for a trade there. If either of them decide to bounce up into this level here and this level here, then we could look at potentially taking a short, but where it's at right now, not interested. Wheat, however, is something to have a look at. Like I was saying to you, seasonally it's lining up. We could see a further decline down to potentially this area right here. I definitely think this low is going to get ran, and I don't think this low is going to hold up either. But we'll see if this 500 big figure level here does hold up at all, and see if corn has any willingness to run, because seasonally speaking, at the end of this month here, wheat does pop up quite significantly, and so we may see something happen from there. So we'll definitely watch for that one, keep that one on the radar screen. So that's kind of what I wanted to discuss today. I'm going to do a further analysis on some commodities, some other commodities, like for instance orange juice. I was calling a further continuation last week. See this little run up into here, I was saying price should drop down. Cotton, cocoa, coffee, all those things here. I think coffee, actually, we could be due for a run on coffee. That was one of the ones I wanted to look at as well too. Coffee seasonally, where are we on that one? Interesting, coming into an area of bullishness. Shocking. Hey, if you guys aren't trading commodities, you should definitely start looking into it. Look at this confluence and how everything lines up here. See how price is coming down, 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 down. And here we are into June, middle of June. Look what happens here. Price starts to reverse, trade higher. Where are we right now on this chart? Price has been coming down, 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 and we could potentially be looking at an area of reversal in here. And maybe price may want to start running higher. So those are the kind of things that I'm looking at. I was actually calling it back here. I missed this run up here. And oftentimes they'll come back down and they'll retest these areas here, but fail to make another low. And as soon as they do that, that is the telltale sign. That's it. They run price up, come back down, and they fail to get lower than here. And they'll come back up and retest one more time. That's it. That's all signs are green. Get long because it's going higher. That'd be my first target up here, and then my second target would be obviously this guy up here, but we'd have to watch and see that. So anyway, I'll break it down further for you guys. I don't want to bore you too much. I know, you know, commodities aren't necessarily everyone's forte. I apologize if you were in here just looking for futures, Forex. I did briefly discuss that earlier on in the session, but I wasn't necessarily interested in anything. Actually, I shouldn't say that. US yen has been showing some signs of bullishness as of late, and you can see how the US dollar has not been showing those signs. It's been declining. The US yen has been running since they took these lows in here. I could easily see them running up to this 110.80 level. So, you know, 40 pips from here, I would imagine that could be, you know, in the target range. It's just something I was just kind of briefly looking at there. And if it runs there, if it gets higher than there, then I think this high in here could be suspect. So, especially if the US dollar decides to finally get some traction and run higher, US yen, there is a lot of liquidity stacked above, especially these highs right in here. Right up in here. So that's where I'd be targeting, to be honest with you, if this level doesn't hold up as resistance. But so that's just something that I was just kind of skimming through. Again, nothing on crude oil that I'm looking at other than price dropping. It's come up right now to these levels in here. Don't be surprised if Wednesday, if they just keep sitting price here, and then Wednesday they just, you know, price falls out of bed and we make one more big leg lower. I'd be easily expecting the 63.70 level to get run on oil. So if you guys are trading oil at all, just be careful. We could see a drop. I mean, if you're trading oil short, very ballsy for one, especially with this bullish move higher, I would be trading it short. But if you are, you could get rewarded here. I think they're going to drop it one more time. And that's just my personal opinion. I've been wrong on oil before. I believe ultimately they're going to take it up to 80. But before they get there, I think they're going to scoop up some of this liquidity below the market here. And a perfect spot to do that would be right around here, this 60 level. So Aussie, what's happened on Aussie this week? Starting to show some bullish signs as well too. Nice trade lower here last week, and then Monday, Tuesday so far, breaking out higher. So we'll see if these levels in here hold up as resistance. What 176? Excuse me, 76.15. We'll see if that level has any resistance to it, and if price doesn't want to go any higher, we could come run lower one more time. I am looking at some bullish ideas on Aussie, though. I think this pair has definitely been very bullish out of the gate here. Yeah, we could see another run higher on that one. So, but not great to trade. Very wicky in here. But yeah, if you can get a long off on this guy here on a run lower, it could definitely pan out for you. So, just thought I would bring that up just because I saw it. And that's about it, guys. I don't know if you got any value out of what I was talking about here today, but I just thought like coming on and spitting something out just because I usually do a live session every Tuesday, and you know, I'm not doing anything with the markets until this FOMC is done. Just because a lot of volatility, like look at the gap on the US dollar here. Like, out of nowhere, let's just gap it higher going into Tuesday's trading. So, what they could be doing as well too is running and taking out all of the buy stops above the market here quickly, not letting anyone get a chance to get short, and then they're just going to drop this market down like a rock. That would not surprise me, to be honest with you, but they always like to take the opposite side of what everybody's thinking in the markets, so it just wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, if you guys have any questions, shoot them up now. Anything that you want me to cover, if I didn't cover it already. Like I say, it wasn't really a big focus on Forex today. It was more commodity based. Just a real quick analysis. By the way, copper, I don't know if you caught in my pre-recorded session, I said it was popping up into here, and that's where Friday closed, and I said fade that, and look what it's done. So far it's fallen off nicely. I'm calling price back lower. I think we're going to come back down and come somewhere down into this level in here. Personally, I believe that's where price will want to come back down to. For sure, I think this level here, this 31.55 level would probably be, and that's just the old highs in here. That could be on the target, but nice little pop on copper. Just very unexpected, right out of the blue. Showing signs of bullishness. Could probably run higher. That's actually what I should just check real quick. And then again, this is all stuff that I'm going to run on my commodity analysis as well too. All the metals, all the softs, the grains, etc., etc., etc. I want to take a look at that, but just kind of while I'm in here yapping, I figure I'd maybe have a real quick peek at copper seasonally. Where are we? Oh, look at that. June, end of June, middle of June. I don't know if anyone's looked at that before, but look at that. Look at this. Big run up. Where are we here? We're June 11th. Price was consolidating all through here as they were seasonally running price down. And you can see here, we could see a big move on copper. So this price could continue to go higher. I'd like to see it come lower. I believe we will see a retrace on it. But once it gets back down to this level, all bets are off. This could offer a major level of support. And we could see copper potentially make a run. So we'll be watching those levels in here for sure. So thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Hope you have a great Tuesday. Stay out of the markets. Don't, my own personal opinion, I'm not trading. I don't necessarily think there's anything in here really worth trading. Like I was telling you, the only one that I would consider is maybe that US yen trade potentially if they were to find a level of support down in here. Keep in mind though, they could come all the way back down and blow out these levels down here if this doesn't offer any type of support, this area in here. If there's no support there, they've already tried to run it once here and have rejected, and so far they're just kind of wicking in here, but they could push this thing higher one more time. And if this level here were to hold up, this 110, 10 basically, if that level were to hold up, then we could very easily see this level get hit as the next leg higher. But if this level gets taken out and closed down through, then they will definitely probably come back down to this level. See this level consolidation down here? That could be where they're coming down to. So it would be like 109.55. So just keep that in mind. If you do take a long on this, keep your stop tight on that. But that's pretty much the only thing that caught my eye in the markets today. And that's about all she wrote, guys. So thanks very much for joining. Don't see any comments in the chat area. So Dave will be in Wednesday morning. He'll be doing a live session. Probably won't be doing a whole lot, honestly. FOMC is right around the corner there, and so I don't know that he'll be doing any trades. He might just do a market review, more than likely. All the FOMC numbers are later in the day, so typically it's pretty lethargic price action, and then you get the runners later on in the day when that happens. But we'll wait and see. There'll definitely be a live session, but like I say, probably just more of a study. So anyway, thanks, guys. Hope you have a great Tuesday. Catch up to you Wednesday. Take care.